sit back and listen, fat asses. You're listening to the original Mac Daddy, original dog of war, the Pit Bull, and you're listening to In Your Head.
All right, we're back, and we're joined by Madman Pondo. Welcome to In Your Head.
What is up, all you cyber-sex internet dudes?
Oh, man. I think that's what they're doing in our chat room right now.
That's cool.
So if everyone wants to come over, it's inyourheadonline.com.
It's a sick thought that maybe my voice is arousing someone.
It is silky smooth.
Yeah. I'll post some pictures up for him, too. So you got a big show coming up August 2nd, Evil That Men Do.
Yep, we got Steve Carino going to be on the show, Mr. Insanity, Toby Klein, me, and Too Tough Tony's taking on the Hain Brothers in a 200 light tube match. First one in West Virginia, as far as I'm aware of, and some other things. But, yeah, that's going to be a pretty good, solid show, I think.
Our co-host here, Incher, is from West Virginia. Did you ever do any light tube matches?
Have I ever done them?
It's not Incher. Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
I've done
them. I think me and Ian was one of the founding fathers of the popularity of the light tube match.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my brother actually works at elementary school, and there's all kinds of safety precautions, like for handling broken fluorescent lights. You ever ever get any kind of poisoning or anything from them?
I think that's just a gimmick, because I played around in them light tubes for the past 10, 11 years, and as far as being as ugly as I am, I don't think I've had any problems.
Not doing too bad at all.
Not doing too bad.
What does your tag team name mean? The Baka Gaijin?
Baka Gaijin. What kind of internet show is this? I mean, can I say?
Oh yeah, you can say anything you want on there.
All right. Well, Baka Gaijin. When I was over in Japan, me and Tony, we make fun of people, and they kept calling us Baka Gaijin, Baka Gaijin. So finally I asked somebody, I was like, what's that Baka Gaijin mean? And they said, well, it's stupid foreigner, but actually what it is, it's like when you call a black man a nigger.
Right.
And I was like, oh, Tony, I totally have our tag team name. That's where Baka Gaijin came from.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think Incher has a similar story. He got 1-inch biceps.
No. Would you quit bringing me up in this interview?
Oh, sorry. You got Steve Carino coming on the show you mentioned earlier. Have you worked with him before?
I haven't. I mean, me and Steve Carino are friends. Like, I went to 01 shows, and he's, of course, on the shows, and I just go to watch him and stuff. But, I used to go to the ECW locker rooms a lot, and let's see, he did a show for A.T. Huck in Detroit that I was on with him, and we came pretty close, and of course we're a couple of MySpace whores, so we talked with each other on that, and I think he's going to work pretty hard for me, because I don't know, he just seems like he's eager and ready and raring to go.
Yeah, definitely. You got a question from the board, Incher?
A question from Hambone. He wants to know if you ever done a move and regretted that you done it afterwards.
Oh yeah, it would have to be the CZW bed of pencils.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it was terrible. I had a piece of graphite up my ass for 6 days, and after I took that bump, I had to drive home from Delaware. Then the next day, I had tickets for the Yankees and the Cleveland Indians. So I drove to Cleveland, and I sat in the uncomfortable baseball stadium chairs, and then drove home, and 6 days it was up there, and finally I could click my fingernail back and forth on a piece of it, so I just took 2 fingers on each side of it and pushed it, and out it came, and I still have it in a bag around here somewhere.
Got to keep that around.
Yeah, definitely. You can sell it on eBay.
I think it's a reminder to never do that.
Never do the pencil
again.
match, right? Anyone ever suggest a weapon or a type of match, and you just no way, that's just too crazy?
I think razor wire is the dumbest idea ever, because razors are meant to. Barbed wire is meant to scratch a cow and it'll back up and go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Razors are meant to cut, whatever it comes in contact with. So razor wire to me is probably not the best idea in the world.
Yeah. Have you ever done any matches with those, with razor wire?
Have I done a match with razor wire?
Yeah.
No, I've been asked several times, and I just think that'd be a stupid way to go. If you died in the ring, I think that'd be a very stupid way to go.
Oh, definitely. Another question from
Givery Mouther, he has a question here. He says, what do you think of backyard wrestling?
Yeah, I go watch backyard wrestling when I find out there is one, but for my own reasons. I mean, I like watching, don't take this wrong. I'm not trying to be cruel on them, but I love to watch kids try to do moves and mess up and hit the ground. Now, I'm not wanting somebody to break their neck, but, I really love that shit. And it also shows that when that same kid who hits the ground gets up and does another move, and he's not getting paid a damn thing, and there's only like 20 people in his yard, he's got a lot of heart, and he'll probably, if he keeps going the way he is and train somewhere, he'll make a good wrestler. Like M-Dog 20 is the king of the backyard wrestling because that's exactly where he came from, and look at him today.
Mm-hmm. We've got someone here in our chat room, Mets459. He wants to know about your deathmatch tourney coming up in September.
I am so glad that you asked that. Well, my company, IWA East Coast, or should I say www.iwaeastcoast.com, we finally decided to put together our own deathmatch tournament, but I wanted to make it special. So first we had it for Friday the 13th, and we was going to bring in Kane Hodder and, just make a big deal out of it. Because every like all the companies are running deathmatch tournaments now, but I really wanted to make mine special. Well, we had it all booked. The building was booked. Kane Hodder was booked. Kane Hodder calls me and says, Pondo, I'm so sorry. I got booked from the 13th to the 16th for good money. Is there any way I can get out of your booking? And who am I to tell Jason Voorhees that he can't go wherever he wants to? So I said, sure. So now all of a sudden the specialness left. So I called Sid Haig, Captain Spaulding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he was all willing, but he wanted like $2,500, and that would pay a lot of wrestlers. So
you should have tried C.J. Graham.
Then I got a hold of Alex Vincent from Child's Play and thought about calling it the No Child's Play Tournament. And then I really shied away from that. And then I came up with the idea, why not on the same day, September the 16th, from 2 o'clock to 5, we will have the High Flying Flippy Kids tournament. And then from 7 o'clock to 10, we will have the Deathmatch tournament, both in the same building, South Charleston Community Center in South Charleston, of course. And, I think it's a pretty good idea so far for the Flippy tournament. We've got M-Dog 20, Ruckus, Sanjay Dutt, Omega, which is one of our local kids who really does a good job, Zach Vincent the same way, and the Drunken Luchador El Drunko, and I've got 3 other names. I'm not sure what they are right now. And then for our deathmatch tournament, surprise, surprise, you've got me, Jun Kasai flying in from Japan. We've got his plane ticket already paid for. I know there's a lot of people out there saying we're not sure if he's going to show or not. Well, I guarantee you that we've got his plane ticket already paid for. I've talked to him 2 or 3 times, and he is going to send me a picture with him with a drawing of saying, I'll see you at IWA East Coast September the 16th, and I'm going to plaster it all over the internet. And we've got, like, Mr. Insanity, Toby Klein, Deranged, which we call him Cocaine here at our company, Brain Damage, J.C. Bailey, Corporal Robinson, and one other name that I haven't figured out who it was going to be yet. But I'm telling you, I'm really putting a lot of thought into both the shows, so I think they're going to be excellent shows. We're selling gold tickets for both shows for $45, and would love for everybody to come out and.
What do you get with the gold ticket?
What do you get with the gold ticket?
Yeah.
Both shows you get front and second row for both shows, which I think is a pretty good deal because some of the other deathmatch tournaments, I've seen some of those prices, so I wanted to keep my prices reasonable where a lot of people would want to come.
Oh, definitely. You got a question, Barb?
Keeping it real, Bob, he wants to know, would you ever wrestle the ECW Zombie?
I would totally wrestle the ECW Zombie. What an idea that was, huh? I wonder what genius came up with that.
Yeah. We had him on the show a few weeks ago, and he explained the whole thing. It was a pretty entertaining story.
Well, before you get off the phone with me, I'd love to hear that story. Was it the rumor I hearing is they wanted to do an alien with the whole sci-fi, and then they said no, so they settled for a zombie?
Right. Well, the way he said it was they couldn't find the alien. The alien, disappeared, so they were looking around, and they saw he was there, and they're like, they decided to do a zombie. And he told it a lot better. It's pretty funny.
All right.
He explained when he went and met Vince, dressed up in the zombie outfit. He compared it to the on the mat when he was talking to Dross, telling him he's going to
puke.
Yeah, only he was like, show me the zombie.
Wow.
That's pretty good stuff. That's archived on our site at inyourheadonline.com.
I got you.
All right. What was it like being in the ring with Abdul the Butcher?
Abdul the Butcher is, I've been in the ring with him in Japan and America, a total of both countries, maybe over 20 times, and over 20 times it has been the very same match.
But was it like an honor just to be in the ring with Abdullah? Was he like a hero?
It's totally an honor. I mean, for my company, when I first started the IWA East Coast here in Charleston, Abdullah had been scheduled on 3 different shows and didn't show for any of the 3. So that's when I called him and I said, I need your help. I'd like you to come into my show. But if I book you, I really do need you to come into my show, and I explained the importance of how I wanted to go ahead and give my company in this area credibility. I went to 7 different shows in this area and didn't see one thing that would make me get out of my chair and pop. So I wanted to, start my company off right and get somebody in here who the people of Charleston, West Virginia wanted to see and hadn't got to yet. And, of course, that was Abdul the Butcher.
Yeah, definitely. You ever been to Abby's House of Ribs?
Yes, I have. I've been there 6, 7 times.
Awesome.
And never got a free meal.
That's what Axel Rotten told us. He said, don't try to get a free meal from Abdullah.
That's it.
What would you recommend on the menu, then?
The ribs are really, really good, but if you get there during the day, he has I don't know if you guys get into soul food or not, but he has a soul food and Chinese buffet. There's no ribs on the buffet, but that's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Cape Cod. I don't think we're really big on the soul food around here.
I understand. I wasn't either, but
I'll try it.
Hungry, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned off air, about the Headhunters coming in for a recent show with ICP.
Yeah. Now there's an honor. For the Gathering of the Juggalos this year, they brought in, ICP did put out some videotapes called Stranglemania, and the Headhunters on there was called the Mushroom Boys, Ponderosa and Sweden House. So ICP calls me on the phone and says, we're going to put you in a tag with us, against us. We're going to put you with the Headhunters. And I thought I was going to flip out, because I never thought I'd even get my chance to meet them both because one got sick. And now I'm tagging with them. It was me and the Headhunters took on Silent J of ICP, Vampiro, and Nozawa from All Japan. And Shaggy T-Dope was the manager. And then, I got my picture taken with the Headhunters. I don't do that a lot, but I couldn't help myself, I got my picture taken with the Headhunters. Then the second day, it was me and the Powers of Pain, Warlord and Barbarian, took on Vampiro, the same team, Vampiro, Violent J, and Nozawa.
You enjoy working on the ICP shows?
I love working those ICP shows. Like, for 4 days, I am Brad Pitt.
Awesome.
Recently, they did a show with TNA. Do you think it was TNA that brought in the fans, or do you think it was ICP?
Well, I think they help out both. They're both pretty smart. TNA knows that Juggalos are going to come to their shows and see ICP. Mm-hmm. ICP knows that if they show up on TNA, that's going to help keep their name alive. So I think they pretty well help each other out, and when one mentions it, the other one's all for it.
Mm-hmm. You ever have any talks to go in any place like TNA or WWE? The new ECW?
I would love to do ECW just for the nostalgia of I wanted to do ECW back in the day.
Right.
But I don't think my telephone's ever going to ring on that. And then TNA, I really don't think they want me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my biggest dream of growing up, and then getting in the business was always Japan, and I've been there for the past 6 years, 32 trips altogether. So, if that's the only goal that I accomplished in the wrestling business, then I guess I accomplished the one that I thought about doing since I got into it.
Is it different wrestling in front of the Japanese crowd than the American crowd? Totally
different, because they're not as spoiled with wrestling over there. Now, let me tell you what I'm talking about. In Japan, legit, every day you can go see wrestling. Mm-hmm. You might have to travel a little while, but every day there's a wrestling match somewhere in Japan. Here, there's so much TV of, not so much anymore, you got your WWE, then your ECW, then TNA comes on at some time, and then you got those Saturday and Sunday, clips of what happened, and the big star comes in and beats the shit out of the goofy guy. You got all that, but you guys remember before Vince owned it all, how much wrestling was on TV?
Oh, yeah, because he had TNA, WCW.
And it just, spoiled Americans, on wrestling. So when you go to Japan, it is so much more respected. You're treated... we get treated over there like Hollywood stars get treated here. So over there, it's so much more respected, and there's a channel over there called Samurai TV that you actually have to order to get to watch. Now, at 2 in the morning, there's some Noah on TV, and I think All or New Japan plays some kind of TV show that I catch every once in a while. But if you don't get to Samurai TV, then you don't get to see a whole bunch of wrestling. Mm-hmm. And when the fans come out, they're starting to learn a little more. When I first started going over, they was pretty quiet and just watched the matches. But now that they've started watching American wrestling over there on TV and stuff like that, they're becoming a little more like the Corrigan Hall. That is your ECW arena,
right?
And then Tokyo Dome, that's your Madison Square Garden. They're starting to learn a little bit more of the chants and saying people's names out loud and stuff like that. So it's getting a little funner. Not that it wasn't funner, but
right.
The respect is so much better over there.
Yeah. So they kind of have their own hardcore fans, kind of like ECW shows have a different fan base than like a WWE show.
In Japan, it's even worse. Some people will only go to a show that Chono puts on. Mm-hmm. Some people will only go to a show that All Japan puts on. Some people, everybody has. So there's some over there that only have their individual fans, and that's the only place you'll see those fans. But of course, there's a bunch of federations that have the hardcore fans that go to see it all. Every wrestling that they can. And the thing about it is over there, our tickets here. $15, $10, $20, we think, oh my God, that's so expensive. But over there, you're paying $60 to $100, and that's the $60 and the $40 are like your cheap way back in the back seat. So, you know, like I said, it's just so much more respected over there, and they want to see it so much more than I do over here.
Yeah. When you're taking, like, the long plane flights, anyone ever ask you, like, how you got all scars or anything?
I get it all the time. I'll go into a restaurant or convenience store, and they'll ask me about my forehead. And did you see Tommy Boy?
Yeah.
I've gotten so good at telling the story of how I hit a deer, and I put it in the back of my car, and the deer came back alive and destroyed my forehead. And believe it or not, I get so many people believing that shit. Now, a few of them have come forward and said, you know what, that's just like that movie Tommy Boy. You know? But so many others have just been like, oh my God, and what did it do? It bit your head? You know, stupid shit like that.
Yeah, you can always tell them the movie is based off you.
That's it.
You know that question from the board, didn't you?
Hambone, he wants to know what weapon looks like shit but hurts like hell.
Let me tell you about my stop sign.
Mm-hmm.
When I throw people in and I let the stop sign go and it makes that loud noise, it sounds like hell, but it's just as easy as shit. Every once in a while, somebody will throw me in and hit me with my own stop sign, and they'll hold it. It sounds like shit, and it damn near knocks your brain out the back of your head. Here is the equivalent of it. Now, when you're playing drums and you're sitting there tapping on the cymbal, it sounds good, you know, it makes a good noise and all that. But when you hold the cymbal and you tap on it, it sounds like you're hitting a tin can. Well, stupid morons that hold my stop sign and hit me in my own head with it are actually hitting the tin can. And it just sounds like shit, and it hurts, you know, so that's what I would say.
Yeah.
Stop sign.
You gotta find the weapons that sound good but don't hurt.
Right.
Right. We had Funk on here a few weeks ago, Terry Funk, and he really put you over. What would you say about Terry Funk?
Man, what can I not say about Terry Funk? When last year for the Gathering of the Juggalos, Terry Funk was the JCW champion, and I wrestled Terry Funk and actually beat Terry Funk for that belt. I was just, you know, as I heard Desperado playing and Terry Funk was walking out to the ring, all I could think of was, you know, I've made it. This is, you know, the match that I've always thought about. This is what I wanted to do, and everything flowed real well. I don't think it'll ever be out on DVD, so, you know, only in my mind will I be able to remember it. But yeah, it was the number one honor so far in my life to get to wrestle Terry Funk.
Speaking of that, what would you tell people it's different to go and see like a show live, like an indie show live, than it is to watch it on DVD?
Totally different. But it's what you make of it. Mm-hmm. If you go there and you just sit in one chair and, you know, and don't make any noise, and, you know, then you might as well just stay at home and watch TV. But if you go to a live show and you get up out of that chair and you're going crazy, and, you know, somebody you don't like, you tell them you suck, stuff like that, you know. Wrestling is what you make it, and, you know, if you see the movie Gladiator, this is what a wrestler feels like. When you're in the ring, if you win the crowd, then you win the game. So those wrestlers want to hear the crowd holler and go nuts. If they don't holler and go nuts, then we don't feel like we've done our job. So going to a live event, getting loud, getting crazy, not only helps you, it helps out the wrestlers as well.
Yeah, definitely. Someone in here in our chat room, Jobber to the Stars, you want to know if you had any good rib stories.
Jobber to the Stars.
Yeah.
Good rib stories. Yeah, I'll go ahead and tell you this one. When I was on the JCW tour, one of these juggalos came up to me and said, "Hey, Pondo, I know you guys have been on the road a long time." He said, "I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to loan you my girlfriend." I'm like, "Loan me your girlfriend for what?" And he's like, "Well, what do you think? Whatever you want to do, you know?" So I didn't really believe him, but I'll be damned once I got to my hotel if I didn't wait in my lobby. Here he shows up with the girl. She's pretty hot. So I walk over and I shake his hand, and he tells her, he's like, "You know, you're Pondo's for tonight. Whatever he tells you to do, you do. You know, if he tells you to blow this guy, blow this guy." you do what he says. Well, next thing I know, I've got a lot more friends than what I had before.
Yeah, as I say, you should have called us up.
Right. So, of course, I go first, and I go to leave my room, and there's 3 guys waiting outside my room. So they go 3 individually. So I take the girl down onto the tour bus, thinking, all these guys are waiting and going crazy. Well, they got the idea to roll up a joint using 3 ounces of weed.
Mm-hmm.
So they all smoked this joint, so everybody was asleep. The whole bus was asleep. So I thought, man, this is pretty. Okay, so now you did say this is the internet, and I can say.
Yeah, you say whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay, so I told this girl, I got this good idea. I told this girl, now the way the tour bus was made, there's 16 beds, and they all have their own curtains and stuff like that. So I told this girl, I said, I want you to reach inside this curtain and jack this guy off better than you jacked off anybody in your life. So she spits in her hand and she starts doing a porno's job, hand job, jacking off this guy. So who it was for JCW, he was Fat Fuck Feral Boy, but you guys might know him better as Mean Mitch Page.
Okay.
So jacking off Mean Mitch Page, and I stick my face in Mitch's curtain. So he's starting to wake up, and I'm just got my eyes as wide as I can, and I'm doing like Ron Jeremy fuck faces, And he turns around, he looks at me, and he grabs the hand and he pulls it as hard as he can, and he knocks the girl's chest up against the bunk, and she falls down, and he comes sliding out of that thing, and he goes, "Where's Chris Hero?" And I said, "What do you want Chris Hero for?" And he goes, "God damn it, he was just jacking me off." I don't know where that came from, but that's probably the best rib I've pulled in a while.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. All right.
That was a complete swerve.
All right, before I let you go, though, I want to let everybody know where can you get IWA DVDs?
From Smart Mark Video, www.smartmarkvideo.com. And for that Deathmatch and High Flying Tournament, please come out and enjoy it with us, because I'm working pretty hard on it. And we got Jun Kasai from Japan. Everybody wants to see Jun Kasai. And you can get more information on that at www.iwaeastcoast.com.
Yeah. And you got the big show, Evil Men Do, August 2nd, South
August
Charleston.
2nd, yep. And we'll have another one November the 22nd. And already booked for that will be Vampiro.
Awesome. Yeah,
You'll have to let us know when they come out on DVD. We'll tell the fans.
Yeah, we'll put up links on the site. We'll talk about it on there. Cool with us?
Sounds great.
All right, really appreciate you coming on today. We've got
All right,
some time.
Listen, if you're not listening to In Your Head, you might as well kick yourself in the ass. And the bottom line of the whole thing, you'll fear what you don't understand and hate what you can't conquer, bitch.